speech by the President-elect William Ruto as he just sort of recounts what Kenyans expect and all the events that have happened leading to him being declared the winner of the just concluded 9th August general election. And I say just in quotes because indeed we do know on 23rd IEBC is not yet done because they're going back to the ground, repeat the same process all over again in Kakamega and Mombasa counties, and also in some constituencies as well, because we do know some names were also missing in those key areas, to be specific, Rongai constituency. Good. Now, let's then put into perspective what has happened all the way to that conclusion of that result in terms of legal matters. What is the next move by Azimio coalition? All these issues that have been pointed out, the allegations of rigging and the audits that have been done by KPMG, what do they mean therefore legally? But first, let's understand what follows next. And joining me on set, therefore, to crown the conversations that we've been having here on this particular set with Ankey, Dorice, for more than a week, we're joined by Jaiccan Sangwera, who is a lawyer. Jaiccan, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you so much.
Happy to have you around.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So before we go into the issues, let's paint a picture of what we expect now, Jaiccan, in the next 3 weeks that are given by law before we see that appointment of the president-elect.
Thank you very much. The IEBC Commission, the chairman, declared the election yesterday by law as required. And therefore, what is to happen now is the processes of preparation for swearing in of the president according to the law. But before that, based on what happened yesterday at the Bomas of Kenya, we anticipate that those people who brought in issues there and the 4 commissioners who gave a presser yesterday, they will, if they have issues, and the persons who had issues against the declaration yesterday, if they have evidence that there was the election was tampered in any way,
yes,
they will file a petition to the Supreme Court as required within 14 days. Therefore, as at now, we actually don't know much we can say, because you know...
Well, that period is is it 14 days or it is within 1 week for you to... Within 14 days?
Yeah, so you can do that.
Yes.
The point is, those people, the persons who are not in agreement with the outcome yesterday, and those who brought in some drama at the IEBC, the Bomas of Kenya, did not clarify to Kenyans what indeed they were complaining about. So as at now, some of us are in darkness, because even the commissioners that said that there was opaqueness, they did not clarify the opaqueness they were talking about.
Yes.
And you understand that these commissioners themselves, for the last, say 1 week since we voted, they've been part and parcel of the persons who have been reading for us the results at Bomas of Kenya. They read the results to us throughout, and we think that during that time they did not show that there was any form of opaqueness. They read the results up to the last day, and for us, we believed and trusted in what they were doing. And so we don't understand exactly where the opaqueness, what time did the opaqueness arise? Is it a few minutes to declaration? Or, you know, election is a process. Is a process cycle which takes about 5 years. Are they talking about opaqueness, which is from the 5 years when we did the last election to date, or from the day we voted on 9th of August, or just a few minutes to declaration? So the commissioners of the IEBC, the 4 commissioners of the IEBC that said that there is opaqueness, need to clarify to Kenyans.
Yes.
And be patriotic enough, because what they did yesterday was unpatriotic. according to many of us.
Yes, but then they say they're going to come back and show you in detail where this opaqueness was coming from, isn't it?
Yeah, but you see, I'm saying,
yes,
that moment was so critical for the country. They have been at the bombers of Kenya, following up the process, doing it themselves, and declaring results as they come from the constituencies. And therefore, the country was in a moment where they were waiting for the declaration of the president-elect.
Yes.
And suddenly, they emerged at Serena and saying that the process is opaque, and they will say they will give more information. That is the point. If they wanted to say something,
yes,
they will have said to save the country, because the country will have gone to anarchy.
Yes.
Chaos yesterday.
Jaiccan, for any other person, or looking at the way that the results was released yesterday,
yes,
that division within the commissioners at IEBC, does that give way for somebody to launch a petition and say, well, even the commissioners themselves were not in agreement then with the results that the Kenyans were given yesterday?
It doesn't give them...
Does it not form ground for petition?
It doesn't really form a ground for petition.
Yes.
From my side, of course, the Constitution under Article 138, Article 10, gives the chairman of the IEBC power, and that constitutional duty to declare the results of the presidential election is the returning officer of the presidential poll. And therefore, once the chairman has acted as according to Article 138, sub-Article 10, and he has declared that results, the issues of consensus don't arise.
Unanimity as opposed to consensus, Jaiccan. Is the law clear on that you as a commission that has been constituted legally then to deliver the results to the, despite, of course, you like to think that the national returning officer will give us that result, but how do we arrive at this result? You like to think the commissions themselves have specific roles that they're playing for us to get this result.
That's why I was saying, if these commissioners have any other issue, you see the only way the Constitution provides for is to go to court and bring out those issues. And they will prove.
Yes. What is the specific role of these 6 commissioners that the National Returning Officer has been assigned?
These commissioners don't just work yesterday or on one day or during the declaration.
Yes.
They have a lot of duty they do during the 5 years. And the duties are cut out, their duties are cut out very well in the Election Act and the Constitution.
Yes.
And therefore, it's not on one day on the declaration, on that particular day of declaration, the Constitution really says that the returning officer of the presidential poll is the chairman of the IEBC who will declare the president-elect. That is what it is. We have, so looking at the question of consensus, the consensus issue, once the Form 34A have been received from the constituency, and which is a process that begins that they are sent to the KIMS, and the text message and the physical forms of 34A also are brought. You see, that process of verification is done during that period of time when that process, from the day of election, up to the dates in which the Commission declares the results. So if they had issues about any form or anything, they should have raised this issue during the time of verification. You see that?
Yes.
So we didn't see them bringing issues, or we didn't see any of those commissioners alleging or bringing contradictory views that what I have read or what I'm supposed to be reading here is not as it's supposed to be. So we are in darkness for us to understand really at what point did the opaqueness start. Is it from the date on 9th of August, or is it just a few minutes to the declaration of the president? And no, this has made Kenyans even to read more on these commissioners. Remember, these commissioners are new commissioners. We may call them new, but they're not very new, because they came in like Juliana Charera came in September 2021 and was sworn in by, of course, Chief Justice, and she had been nominated by the president. And Kenyans are now digging deep into their...
As it ought to be, though, Jaiccan, isn't it?
Yes, it's supposed to be. There's a process.
Yes,
no one is,
the
because,
processes were well respected.
Yeah,
yes.
Kenyans, will want to know even... will want to read more about these commissioners.
Yes.
The 4 commissioners
yes.
Who came in. They came in to replace the other commissioners who had resigned. Rosalina Akombe,
also resigning on the basis of what the commissioners also complaining right now, Jaiccan.
Yes.
You got also mention that, isn't it?
They were. Remember, I said that again was an act of an unpatriotic act. Those ones who left also did not clarify to the country exactly why they were resigning. Ambassador Kurgat, Rosalina Akombe,
yes.
and the others, they did not really, and looking at it, when you have been given a duty to do as a Kenyan serving the general public, and there is a moment in which Kenyans really need you to stand and save the country from going into chaos. We wouldn't have had what we were about to see yesterday in parts of the country if those commissioners had raised any issues before that time when Chebukati took the stage to declare the results, or was about to do that. The international community was in the country. Observers from around the world were in Kenya. The media houses had been doing this tallying. And individuals, general public, anybody who wanted to do this tallying was doing it, and actually was leading to the same direction.
Yes.
If this 4 commissioners had an issue, they will have raised it at this stage before the moment at which, and they were part of the people preparing for that particular venue. And
does it then say that indeed, if they prove that some of these issues that they raised yesterday are the culmination of that result, they've been trying to talk about them throughout their period,
yes.
Does that form then the basis for petition, Jaiccan? If they prove, as they are saying.
That is the point. You know, filing a petition under Article 140,
yes.
challenging the validity of the presidential election, require that you have a threshold and convincing that evidence
yes.
that will persuade the yes. Supreme Court to nullify or come up with a different opinion from what the IEBC was putting
yes.
in place.
Which takes me, if you allow me to interject
yes.
right there, which takes me to my next part as well. The 2017 election was nullified under the processes of IEBC, the way IEBC conducted the election. When you look at the way IEBC has conducted the election this time, yes. Jaiccan, could you have any doubt? Is there any hole in the way that IEBC has conducted this election to the point that you would say, well, right there, there's still a hole for a petition, and I want to raise something here.
Yes.
KPMG did
yes.
do an independent audit of the voter register, and they actually did come out and say, look, there are 2 million voters in this register that we don't understand where they're coming from, and there's some returning officers as well that we have remarked here that have authority to even change data within this register that we have no idea where they're coming from. But Jaiccan, IEBC did not respond to that.
They responded.
But the basis of that response, was it watertight enough to the point that you can launch a petition on that?
I think I want to say this.
Yes.
This election that we held on 9th of August is the most transparent election since independence. And you can agree with me. You've been in the country. You've been in the country.
Yes.
You've seen the kind of elections we have held since independence. If you were not there, we read through what happened through the elections of the past. And we were here in the country in 2013. We were here in 2017. We were here in 2007 also, when the election was also contested. But we didn't have a Supreme Court during that particular time. So we have seen that the chairman of the IEBC and his the commissioners, they have put this election to be more transparent, and the chairman kept emphasizing that winning this election will be won at the polling station. He kept on during the training of the agents of these political parties, and during the time when the training was being conducted even throughout, he kept on saying that the Bomas of Kenya will not be a place where a person is going to win an election. If we want to win this election, it will be the declarations as met at the polling station will be final. The chairman's role was simply to declare what was already declared. There is nothing new that was going to happen at the. So therefore, this election, independent of what you may say about the KMGP report,
the KPMG, yes.
KPMG report,
yes.
If there was anybody who had an issue with that report, again, we have had time, the period through. Everybody has been quiet about that. And I'm saying that if
even the period of that audit, Jaiccan,
yes.
I mean, we did see that report. If I'm not wrong, it came out what was it 2 weeks to the election? If we would like to think so, was that enough time there for somebody to come in and say, well, here's the thing, you got to look into this register and clean it?
The point is,
yes,
even just days to election, people were in court. Remember, there were people even who went to court to say that...
Even on the eve of the election.
Even the eve of the election,
yes.
somebody still went to court
yes.
about this election. Therefore, if anybody had an issue, he had a right to go to court, because the law gives that any person a right to go to court and present his grievances there. You can imagine that during that day, just before election, there was somebody who was challenging the candidature of Rigathi Gachagua in the courts. There was somebody who was challenging that. What I want to say is that this election, in totality, was the most transparent election so far. We need to discuss other things like, were the people prepared, the supporters of the former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, prepared for this outcome? You see, there are other things we need to look at now. The legality, the issues relating to the legal petitions will be dealt with,
yes,
and they will have their space from now going forward. But are Kenyan politicians, do they prepare their supporters for the outcome of an election? Do they, in both sides, not just for Raila Odinga, but even the other side, do they prepare them that this election we may win or we may lose? And when we win, we should celebrate with magnanimity. And if we lose, we should accept the outcome of this election. We don't prepare our supporters. Kenyans are not prepared to accept the outcome. And therefore, when you put, and if you are following up, you saw even from the both sides, both of them kept on giving confidence to their supporters that they are winning up to the very last moment. In fact, yes, even at the Bomas of Kenya,
yes,
most of the people, including when it was very obvious who was going to be declared, because some of us had, we have like myself, I had many people who were doing the tallying, private tally. They were showing me the results. In fact, many people, by Wednesday, they knew who had won elections. Many people, they knew who was leading. But the point of declaration is reserved for purpose of Chebukati to do it. So we were to ask the team, for example, from Raila Odinga's side, we didn't see them doing their tally. And we didn't see them doing that. If they had it, it was also opaque.
Yes.
That the opaqueness we need to discuss now.
But then,
you see,
yes,
the point is the side of Raila Ruto at least kept on updating their supporters on the tally,
yes,
day to day.
But was never going to be official, isn't it?
It wasn't going to be official, but
yes,
you know, at least we could
yes,
see that they have tallied this form, and it is there. You can verify from the portal that they have put it. This is how it is moving. This is how it's moving.
Yes,
we could see that is. At least we were seeing following up. Unfortunately, from the side of Raila Odinga, they were not showing us. They say they have a tallying. They are doing a tally, but we did not see that the progress of the tally. You know, when you say that Raila Odinga has won, and you're not progressively showing us how he has moved to the, how is he doing?
Yes.
So the opaqueness, actually, much more was from the side of the team that is was working for Raila Odinga in putting their tally open so that their supporters can follow up. We were following both sides.
Yes.
Independent of where you were supporting, you still wanted to know what is happening. Is this team also working? What are they saying? You see, when you post something online and it is pulled out, you see that shows that maybe it loses, brings doubt on what you are doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Jaiccan, as we come to the end of this conversation then,
yes,
just I've got two questions I've got to respond at them for only 3 minutes. What time should Kenyans expect to have their next president? Because what they do know right now is that we have a president-elect. Under law now, what does the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta, have to do regarding the presidential results that we just saw yesterday? And generally, when you look at the accusations of rigging the election, some of them that have already got evidence, we do know that some returning officers, by the way, have been found dead. As per this morning, why do you think, if anybody has a chance to launch a successful petition of this election, where do you think it's going to come from? Just 3 minutes.
I just want to, first of all, I want to say that it's sad, it's very sad for the country to have lost an IBC officer, Mr. Daniel Musyoka of Embakasi East. It's very sad that we could go that direction, and he really didn't to die for whatever reason, and we regret we are saddened as a country, and we hope the agencies will do investigation and come to conclusion on what happened regarding that one. And then I just also need to say that the president we have right now, of course, you know, we have a president-elect, and just before the declarations, that president-elect William Ruto is now a state property. You saw what happened after the declaration, that even the security is now beefed up. And the law gives space for those people who may have issues about the outcome. In the Constitution, under Article 140, anybody who is not satisfied with the outcome of the election may file a petition to the Supreme Court to challenge that particular election. And therefore, that space is given. We expect that within 14 days. There is a committee that is responsible for purposes of handing over.
Yes.
That committee led by Joseph Kinya.
Yes. And
that is doing its work. Even as we speak now, is preparing for the purposes of handing over process. And we hope that if nothing happens by August 28th, we should have a new president sworn in. What I need to say also, as I come to the end, is that Raila Amolo Odinga has done so much for the country. I need to say that we owe him a lot of respect for what he has done for the country. And as a country, what we don't want right now is to portion blame as much, even though most people have failed him, most of the people around him have failed him. We owe him respect, and what we want to say, the supporters of the Right Honorable Prime Minister don't need any more pain and trauma. They have suffered also pain a lot during these elections. I think also people who are having issues about this election should be very serious, because they should not try to put expectations to the supporters that there is a chance that Raila Odinga may become president. And then again, they suffer another pain and that they have been suffering. I hope that this time we should all, election is over. This is not to create enmities. We should hope that Kenyans will live in peace, and we don't expect people to cause anxiety across the country.
Yes.
And we hope that this process will come to an end peacefully. And the Deputy President already has said that he's ready to work with the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, and at the level of which he said they have even talked. So I don't think that we supporters, the supporters of the Prime Minister, should be anxious. And at this time, let us accept what has happened as we wait for what is going to happen.
Yes.
And we don't want any more pain to be put around on. They haven't. Raila Odinga hasn't lost everything. Raila Odinga has several MCAs. Raila Odinga has several members of parliament. Raila Odinga has senators.
Majority members of parliament, by usual side.
Has senators.
Yes.
And therefore the supporters and the people who elected the Prime Minister from his support base have people working for them. They have people elected. They haven't lost in totality. they have leaders who are supposed to be working for them. So I hope that both sides will accept the situation we have now and live harmoniously without those celebrating should not try to celebrate in a manner that causes pain to the other. Yeah.
Yes, pretty much. Jaiccan, thank you very much for taking your time, man.
Thank you very much.
This has been lovely. Guess what? We'll wait for the process.
Yeah.
Should there be a petition, guess what? We'll call you back so we talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, isn't it?
Grateful.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
There has been a Choice 2022. I've been with you with Ankey, Dorice, Simba, all the way from when this election started, should I say, on the 8th, up to where we are right now, after Kenya has officially concluded the election, you would say, because we do have a president-elect. Wow. It's been a long one, I would say that. Well, from Look Up TV studios here in Nairobi, I would say I will be seeing you in other programs as well, because indeed we do get back to what we are supposed to be doing. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. Goodbye and good morning.